Hi, I'm Matt from Wex Photographic, and today I'm going to be explaining how to take great architecture shots. First up, equipment. You can use a variety of cameras to capture architectural details, although what's particularly important is that you use a good quality lens that's as free from distortions as possible, as these easily show up when you photograph architecture. These distortions include curvilinear distortion, where straight lines and other details become curved, and chromatic aberration, which shows us coloured lines over the edges of details. Modern cameras can attempt to fix these issues as part of their image processing, and you can also lessen their effects in post-production yourself, but it obviously saves you a lot of hassle if you don't need to do so. You can also find lenses designed specifically for architectural photography called tilt and shift lenses or perspective control lenses, but these are expensive. A lot of the time with architecture, you'll probably be using small apertures to gain the depth of field that you need. For this reason, a sturdy tripod is a good idea, as it will allow you to use the slower shutter speeds that smaller apertures require. Filters can also be useful, from polarizers for deepening skies and eliminating reflections, to neutral density filters for particularly long exposures. For black and white photography, you may also want to use coloured filters, or alternatively apply the effect of colour filters in post-processing. A common issue with architectural photography is one known as keystoning, where buildings appear to be toppling over. This is down to the difference in magnification between different parts of the building based on the photographer's position, as you'll typically be standing closer to the bottom of the building than to the top. You can correct this as you shoot with a perspective control or tilt and shift lens so that the building appears straight again, although these aren't cheap, so you might prefer to do this using software instead. You can also exploit this for dramatic effect. Lines which disappear off into the distance, known as converging verticals, can really draw the viewer's eye through the scene. This is great when you want to use a really wide lens to exaggerate the effect from the foreground right through to the background. This also works really effectively for other subjects that either repeat themselves or travel through the frame, such as a row of columns or a spiral staircase. Make sure you're using an aperture that will give you enough depth of field so that everything remains in focus. Wide-angle lenses might also allow you to fit a whole building or an interior space into the frame, but you can also use a slightly longer lens to focus in on specific details. With strongly defined lines and repetitive patterns, you can use this to create more abstract images, particularly in black and white, where you can place emphasis on form and structure. One of the great things about architecture is that you can capture it at pretty much any time of the day. Modern architecture can look great against a clear blue sky, but at night its character can change completely when lit up from the inside. Equally, skylines look great during the day and at night with a long exposure, but you can also capture them successfully during a sunset or a sunrise. And while shooting indoors during the day can gift you with lots of natural light coming in through the windows, you can achieve a completely different feel under the warmer glow of incandescent light in the evening. One common issue when shooting indoors is balancing the exposure of the environment with the light coming from the windows. The difference between the brightest and darkest parts of the scene is often extreme, and it can be difficult to capture details in both at the same time. Professional photographers will usually invest a little more time in lighting the interior with either continuous or flash lighting, but if you don't want to go to these lengths, you can regain some detail in brighter areas with the camera's dynamic range optimization settings. If you're feeling a little more adventurous, you can also capture different exposures of the same scene before making a composite image in post-processing. To make your images more interesting, think about what additional elements you can incorporate into them. Particularly reflective buildings can look great when they mirror clouds in the sky or another building, while silhouettes can also be used to show the relationship between people and the structures that surround them. Traffic trails are also great elements to add to a scene, with the fast-moving subjects and their blurred movements contrasting well against static buildings. For more tips and advice, visit us on Twitter, Facebook or Google+, or check out wexphotographic.com/blog.